Yeah. Y'all watching the Grind Ethiks mixtape show, and I'm your host, Victory, BX Supreme Promoter, basically. You know what I mean? I'm saying? Basically. Yeah, thank you for watching another episode of the Grind Ethiks mixtape show. Yo, I'm continuing on with my Power Play stories. This is another segment, a special segment of the Grind Ethics mixtape show called Power Play Stories. This is where I'm telling you my experience of working at the legendary Power Play Studios, which was one of the primary hip hop studios back in the 80s and 90s in Queens, New York. All right. Also, Power Play Studios moved to Manhattan. They moved one of their studio rooms to Manhattan back in the late 90s when I was working there. But yeah, yo, anybody like this episode of the Grind Ethics Mixtape Show, I'll be very grateful if anyone can make a friendly donation. The link is Grind Ethics Cash App, Grind Ethics Cash App. Also follow me on Instagram, Grind Ethics. The link is down below. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to pimp my I say pimp. If you want to peep my other or see my other episodes of Power Play Studios, I got actually, this is the third episode. I got episode 1 and 2 down below if you want to check it out. Yeah, this episode, I want to talk about one of my experiences of working at Power Play Studios, which is not really crazy or bugged out or whatever, you know. Uh the bugged out crazy stories of Power Play Studios, I would have to save that whenever I bring some people to come through the interview. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I told y'all the last episode, I wasn't really at Power Play Studios in their heyday when they were in their prime. I was there in the last days of Power Play Studios when Power Play was losing their luster. Okay, that's when I started working at Power Play. But I want to tell you a story because some of y'all know and some of y'all don't know. I'm a member of the Nation of Gods and Earths. I've been a guard at the Nation of Gods. I've been a guard in the Nation of Gods and Earths for almost 30 years, for since 1998, for a long time. Okay, for a long time. Okay, um, you ask some older gods and Earths in the nation, some older brothers and sisters in the nation. I'm a little baby. Okay, I'm still a baby, even though I've been in the nation for for over 20 years, for 2 decades plus. But anyway, that's neither near nor there. Peace to the nation of gods and Earths, by the way, man. Yeah. Now, how is this relatable to you or me working at Power Play Studios? Some of y'all asking. Well, Power Play Studios was kind of like the introduction. It's kind of like my introduction to the nation of gods and earths. It's kind of like my introduction, you know. Um, I remember when I first started working at Power Play Studios, right? I was hearing brothers coming to the studio, you know what I'm saying? Over in Queens, you know what I'm saying? Talking a little bit of, what you call God body lingo or God lingo or whatever. You know what I mean? Uh, I remember one time I was in the studio in Queens, right? I was working and I was in the building and there was two studio rooms in the building, right? So one client, you know, introduced himself to the other client, right? And and the client asked the other client, "Yo, where you from, my brother? Or where you from, my nigga?" He was like, "Oh, I'm from the desert. You already know. I'm from here in the desert." I'm like, "Queens is the desert? I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't understand how Queens is the desert. I don't understand." right? but but years later, when I joined the Nation of Gods of Earth, I figured out people told me in the nation that the desert is the Queens is considered the desert because whenever you get off at Queens on the subway, you always gotta take a dollar van or a bus to your final destination. There's no such thing when you go to Queens. It's no such thing as getting off Queens. You gotta take a bus or a dollar bus to your to your location. To me, that wasn't the case when I went to when I actually worked at Queens. I just got off the train and walked to my destination a few minutes. That's it. But that's what the guards call Queens the desert because it's like you have to like travel like through camels to get to your destination, like two cars, I mean two trains and a dollar van and two buses. Just to get to your destination, right? So that was like, hearing the lingo at first, that was my little introduction, right? Or my introduction, my intro to my introduction to the nation, right? And okay, I remember when we moved one of the studios to Manhattan, right? To Manhattan, and there was a brother, a new intern in the studio named, what's his name? Nino, who was supposedly God body also. But I don't know if he had a righteous name or if he had a righteous name at the time. I don't know. But Nino, one time we was talking, right? Because we got along real quick. I got along with all the interns. But me and Nino, we were chilling at the studio, right? At that time, I think I was eating pork fried rice or maybe pepperoni pizza at that time. Um, and I offered him something. I know I offered him pork, but he was like, "Nah, I don't eat that. I don't eat that." I'm like, "Okay, I hear you. I hear you." And he was talking to me about how the white man's the devil. I mean, I was kind of laughing, and I was, I was like, "Wow, word." I never heard this before. You know, if you hear my phone, I got a dinosaur phone. I still got a landline. Excuse me, but I was like, I never heard this before. Like for real? Like okay. Well, except for Malcolm X when I watched Malcolm X years before. So that's another. So that was another kind of like an introduction, right? And then I met another brother, another intern. He was coming in and out. He wasn't really consistent intern at the studio like me. He was kind of in and out. But he was a music producer that had his own setup in his own crib already. My brother Shakim, right? Peace to the God Shakim. So when I met Shakim, he was wearing the universal flag of Islam. And I didn't know any better. And I was like, yo, I was peeping at the flag, and I was like, what is that? What was that flag about? I mean, what's that pin about? Are you part of Zulu Nation? Because I thought it was a symbol of Zulu Nation. I thought it was a Zulu Nation symbol. Because I am familiar with Zulu Nation. I was familiar with Zulu Nation before I was familiar with the 5% Nation or the Nation of Gods and Earths. Okay. Now come to find out, the Nation Islam and the Nation of Gods and Earths and Zulu Nation collided at one point in time. But this is way before I was born. That's neither near there. But but yeah, I was like, are you part of Zulu Nation? He was like, nah, I'm part of the Nation of Gods and Earths. The nation of what? The nation of who? I didn't understand, like, whatever, right? So I was like, okay. Hey, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now he didn't say that the nation of gods or earths teach that the black man is God or anything. I forgot how he's described, but he didn't say anything about how the black man is God, right? So I was like, okay. whatever, right? Then I met a couple of few more gods from the nation that came to the Manhattan studio, and they were talking their mathematics, God body lingo, whatever you want to call it, you know. So I kept on hearing mathematics in the studio. Like, I kept on hearing the language. So every now and then, not every day or every week, every now and then, right? So I met the God Truth at Power Play Studios. I met Truth at Power Play Studios, but I didn't know he was a God in the nation, because he was actually, he came to the nation. He came to the, he kind of came to, I don't know why he came to the studio. He was a promoter, a street promoter, one of the biggest street promoters in New York at that time. And this is when Big Cap was in the studio. Big Cap and Zoo Management and DJ Doo-Wop was in the studio. You know what I'm saying? They all, and some other DJs were in the studio. They were collaborating, doing an album together under Zoo Management. So years later, after I left Power Play, years later, this is the time when Power Play was dissolved. There was no more Power Play Studios. I met Truth back in year 2000. Was it year 2000? I don't know. It was the early 2000s. I met Truth. I was with my brother. At this time, I already was in the nation, right? I was already in the nation, right? I was with my brother Understanding in the train, right? And he greeted my brother. He greeted, and Truth came by. He came inside the train, and him and Understanding, they saw each other. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yo, peace, God, peace. And I was like, yo, hold up. Like, they were piecing each other. I was like, hold up, I know this guy from somewhere. Oh, he's one of the promoters, you know what I'm saying, that I met at Power Play Studios. So after after he said peace to Understanding, I was like, yo, brother, I was like, yo, peace, God. I pieced him too. My name is I Victory Allah. He was like, oh, my name is Born Truth Allah, right? Or was it Born Truth or True Born? I forgot. But because I haven't seen this guy for over 20 years, right? So I was like, yo, God, I met you before I joined the nation. I was working actually at Power Play Studios, and you was in the studio hanging out with Big Cat, DJ Doo-Wop and them. It was like, yeah, I remember. So we were politicking, we exchanged maps or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it was funny. And it's funny too, because I would say a couple of few months later, after I joined the nation, going back to my brother Nino, who was the new intern at Power Play, I spoke to him over the phone. He was like, "Word, you joined the nation? Yo, that's peace, God. Blah 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 blah." You know what I'm saying? And and then years later, I ran into my brother Shakim, but my brother Omnipotent, peace of the God Omnipotent. I ran into Shakim again through my brother O. You know what I'm saying? Omnipotent. I think I went to his crib in Queens in the desert, right? And I ran into Shakim again. I was like, "Yo, peace, God. I remember you from Power Play Studios." He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you, God." I was like, you know what I'm saying? So we just became tight ever since. But I met these brothers before. I met three of these brothers. It's funny how I ran into three of these brothers at Power Play Studios, and they're from the nation. And they were in the nation of God's Earth before me. And we ran into each other all of a sudden after I joined the nation. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. So because I was thinking earlier in in the way it was, my introduction to the nation of God's Earth was Power Play Studios, you know? And then, yeah, it was Power Play Studios. It was Power It was crazy. But yeah, man, those are some good old days, man. Them Power Play Studio days, man. I'm telling you. Those were some good old days. But anyway, I'm out. Yo, matter of fact, before I bounce, anybody that used to go to Power Play Studios or anybody that used to attend Power Play Studios, whether you was a client or whether you was a tag along or whatever, I don't care. Or whether you worked at Power Play Studios, for a short period of time, tell me your experience of Power Play Studios. And I would like for you to get on the show and tell the audience about your experience working at Power Play Studios, because Power Play Studios was very instrumental to the hip hop culture and the industry at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And the Nation of Gods of Earth kind of tied in to all of that because the gods played a big part in the growth and development of hip hop, even going back to the 70s. I'm talking about before Rakim, before Just Ice, before King Son, before on Big Daddy Kane, or before Wu-Tang. When people think about the Nation of Gods of Earth, some people they're like, oh, Wu-Tang Clan. Listen, I love Wu-Tang, but not all the Wu-Tang members, the 9 initial members, not all of them are part of the Nation of Gods of Earth. Okay, but anyway, I'm out, y'all. If you like this episode of Grind Ethiks Mixtape Show, aka Power Play Stories, share, like, subscribe. But when you do subscribe, make sure you ring that bell so any videos I come out with, y'all be the first ones to get it. All right. Anyway, I'm out. And remember, peoples, tell a friend to tell a friend that's all about the fucking grind, basically.